Hey, what is up, y'all? It's your girl Danielle, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. My name is Danielle Price. I am a personal development coach, an author, and a speaker, and I help women reduce stress and anxiety in their lives and essentially just take better care of themselves. If you are new, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that little notification bell. That way you get notified every single time that I have a new video out. Today, I'm really excited about today's video. We're going to talk about living authentically, living in your truth, and developing radical self-acceptance. If you know anything about you, if you know anything about me, you know that I am very big on understanding how childhood shapes us as people, right? And our parents, we are given to our parents, and our parents teach us about life and about who we are supposed to be and how we're supposed to be based on their own worldview. Now, sometimes parents don't always have the healthiest way of parenting because parenting really does not come with a guide, right? It doesn't come with a manual on how to take care of your specific child, right? So a lot of times the things that our parents are programming in us or conditioning us to be is who they believe that we're supposed to be. It's based on their morals, their values, their world experience, and the time and age that we're growing up in is different from the time and age that they're growing up in. And so a lot of our identity and our morals and our values are shaped as a child. Sometimes both, not sometimes, but always built through and developed through positive experiences and negative experiences, because we know that trauma has a way of, it literally changes and rewires your brain. And so as you're growing up, you are conditioned and programmed to be a certain kind of way. Now, when it comes to living authentically, right? Sometimes we are bred or we grow up and we are living in our authentic selves. But what happens when you have experienced so much trauma and been mistreated and you've literally been shaped to be somebody that you're just not in your heart of hearts and in your soul? What do you do in order to regain and reclaim your identity? In order to live authentically, you have to really shed the ideals that your family has instilled in you. And this doesn't mean letting go of everything. This simply means that the things that were placed on you, the labels, the characteristics, the values, the morals, the beliefs, the behaviors, the things that were passed down to you that do not align with who you feel you are at your core really need to be shed. And these are things that we were conditioned. As I said in the beginning, our parents condition us and program our subconscious mind through the way that they interact with us, the way that they talk to us, the way that they talk about us, the way that they interact with other people, the way that they handle themselves. Like our sense of identity is being developed from such a tender age that sometimes, you witness things that can really cause you to live an inauthentic life, because oftentimes parents want us to be palatable for them or for the outside world. And again, some of us are meant to be rebels. Some of us are meant to be thought leaders. We're meant to shake the world, and we're meant to be different. We're meant to be bold. We're meant to be courageous. But sometimes we grow up misunderstood. And so the things that are supposed to be our strengths are seen as weaknesses. The things that are meant to make us unique are then maybe demonized, or, we're made to feel like something's wrong with us, right? And so as you begin to learn about yourself and accept yourself and live in your authenticity, to live authentically, you have to really begin to identify what has been placed on you and what the truth is behind those things. So I'll give you an example. For a lot of my life, I've been told that I'm aggressive. And there is some truth to that, right? Because I have been abused verbally, mentally, physically, all of the above. And so I had to learn from an early age that I could not rely on other people to defend me, that I could not rely on other people to take care of me and to, come to my rescue. So I had to learn how to do that myself. But I remember people used to say things like, you're very domineering. That just means like you really command attention, taking attention from other people. And even when I would say things like, I'm very assertive, or I'm very good at what I do, it was almost like people felt the need to humble me. And I grew up feeling small. I grew up thinking that I shine too bright, so let me dim my light. I grew up believing, when I speak up, people don't like it, so I'm just going to be quiet. I grew up thinking that I was extra, and so I would dumb myself down, wearing clothes that didn't make me feel good, no longer doing my hair the way I wanted to, not wearing big flashy colors, big bold earrings. Like, I was literally shaped by the things that people said about me that were actually strengths, and they but made to feel like weaknesses. And so what I wish would have happened is that somebody would have told me, like, hey, you have a big personality, but sometimes it can be a little bit much. Let me show you how to use it in a way to where you can still be yourself, but it's not off-putting to others. Because then you're not taking away my identity. You're not making me feel like something is wrong with me. Instead, you're saying, hey, I acknowledge you. I see you for who you are, and I acknowledge that that you're bold, you're brilliant, you're courageous, you're brazen, you have a lot to say, you ask questions, but here's how you can use it in a way where it works for you instead of against you. So it took a long time to really, and I'm still breaking down some of these false ideals that people have put on me, because they can only understand me through the lens in which they understand themselves. And let's be honest with you, sometimes the way that we show up makes other people uncomfortable because it's something within themselves that has been repressed, suppressed, or demonized, or they've been made to feel something is wrong with them. So again, it's not putting the onus on the other person. Other people are going to be other people. But the onus is on us to reclaim our authenticity, right? And so you have to be who you are meant to be. You have to radically accept that there are just things about yourself that you may like, and there are things about yourself that you're not going to like. You have to understand that in your subconscious mind, you are going to constantly be battling with the most authentic version of you and the version of you that everybody else created for you to be, right? And so in order to really negate that, and in order to undo those things and start to do away with the things that you've been made to feel like something is wrong with you, you have to develop awareness of self. Living authentically means that you understand who you are, why you are the way that you are, why you think the way you think, why you act the way you act, why you behave the way you behave, why you react the way that you react, why you communicate the way that you communicate, why you like what you like, why you don't like what you don't like. And when you understand this part of yourself, you are accepting the good, the bad, the ugly. And, and then the onus is really on you to decide what you want to change and what you don't want to change. For me, I like the way I speak. For some people, it rubs some people the wrong way. But as I prayed about it and I thought about it, I am a communicator. I am a thought leader. I am a leader. And my directness, my ability to communicate and articulate myself clear and concisely is a strength, right? And now, have I had to learn how to soften my tone and soften my face and alter the way that I communicate for certain people? Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, when I need something, especially when I'm in a leadership role, when I need something, I need that person to accept the way that I'm communicating to them. I need them to, essentially do what I need for them to do. So it's important to understand that while living authentically requires for you to radically accept yourself, you also have to understand that you're going to have to tailor yourself sometimes, okay? But not so much so to where you're putting on a mask where nobody can tell the difference between you and the mask, okay? And like I said, you're going to be able to you're gonna know, right? You're gonna know whether you're wearing a mask or not, because wearing a mask is gonna be exhausting. It's gonna be uncomfortable. It's going to feel like you were, and like I said before, in this constant battle between who you were created to be and who you were conditioned to be. And this is not to say that the person that you were conditioned to be is wrong, but is it in alignment with your truth? The thing about living authentically is that you have something so special about you There's a way that you communicate. There's a way that you tell a story. There's a way that you create. There's a way that you touch people and interact with people and relate to people. And there are people that are waiting for you to see that about yourself so that you can help them see it in them. And for many of you, this is breaking a generational curse or a generational pattern of living in your parents' shadow or living in fear of being yourself and then living a life where you're not even really satisfied. And what kind of life is that, right? Who doesn't want to love themselves wholeheartedly? Who doesn't want to shed what everybody else has said about them? Who doesn't want to live life authentically and full and bold and confident and standing firm and flat footed and saying, I am who I am. I love who I am and I don't care who don't like it. There's something very special about that. And so living authentically is about developing that radical self-acceptance, saying, I'm not perfect. There are things about me that I like. There are things about me that I don't like that I am currently working on. And there's some things that you don't like that I'm not going to work on because I like that about myself. I like the way I communicate. I like the way that I interact with people. I like how I advocate for myself. I love how I advocate for children. I love how I interact with my friends. I love how I care so much about the world around me, but I don't let it consume me. Like, you have to look at yourself and really decide what you love most about yourself. And even when it comes to loving your weaknesses, loving the areas in which you want to improve about yourself. Loving it doesn't mean that you don't want to change. It means that you love yourself enough to acknowledge where you are, where you want to go, and then creating a plan in order to get from point A to point B. But you do not continuously pick yourself apart, put yourself down, talk negatively about yourself, think negatively about yourself, because those things really drive your behavior and make you stressed, anxious, irritable, fatigued, depressed, all these different things. So we have to develop a radical sense of self, a radical self-acceptance. You have to be who you were created to be. And then decide, what is it that you want to change? What don't you want to change? What don't you want to change? And then acknowledge your strengths and your weaknesses. Your strengths, of course, are the things that you're good at, the things that you should be leaning into. And your weaknesses are the things that you are going to want to improve about yourselves. But again, I want to reiterate that self-acceptance is not about ignoring everything that is toxic about you or ignoring the things that really need to change that are negatively impacting your life. But it's about saying, you know what, self, I'm not right where I want to be right now, but I love me for who I am. I love this version of myself. And although I plan on saying goodbye very soon, I accept that this part of me has gotten me this far. And I can only imagine how much further and appreciate how much further I will go once I release this part of myself. And give yourself grace. My God, give yourself some grace. A lot of us have been living with unhealthy thought patterns, behaviors, coping mechanisms, and all of these different things for decades. And so these things are not going to be deprogrammed out of your mind overnight. It's going to take time to retrain your brain to think differently, react differently, see the world differently. And so radically accepting yourself and living authentically means loving every version of yourself, acknowledging who you are at your core, and knowing that on your good day and on your bad day, you are still an amazing person. You are still worthy of love. You are still worthy of being doted on and being adored. You are still worthy of blessings. And, I'm harping on this because I feel like sometimes we are so hard on ourselves and we don't realize that affects everything about us. And we don't realize how much pressure we're putting on ourselves to be perfect or to show up just the right way or to be appealing and appeasing to others. When in all reality, if you were to just accept yourself for who you are and walk in your authenticity and allow yourself to go through the journey of becoming the best version of yourself, undoing all these things, redoing the things that need to be done, rewiring your brain, you would find the people who love you just the way that you are. They may not always agree, but you will find the tribe who loves you, the community that loves you, and then you will create a life that supports you and nurtures you. Now, as you are creating this life that supports you, it's gonna feel different, right? Because it's gonna be different from anything that you have seen before. Most of you who are watching this, you may be first. You probably are first, right? Because typically, if you are reclaiming who you were supposed to be, you're the first. You're the first. Nobody really, had a hand in developing you in a way that you really needed to be developed. And if you did, congratulations. But that's not everybody's story. So as I was saying, as you are developing your new sense of self, you have to develop your own set of morals and values. You have to become very clear about what you believe, right? And these may or may not be different from the ones that you grew up with, that you were conditioned to believe and to uphold. And I want you to be okay with expressing yourself differently, expressing your morals and values differently, right? So for instance, I love the way that I love. I love how much I am willing to show up for other people. I love how much I'm willing to give other people. And a lot of the women in my family have been overgivers. And I've always said that I was here to restore balance to my bloodline, especially for the women. And I always feel like my grandmothers are always all around me, rooting me on to continue to put myself first. But so I'm a lot alike. I'm a lot like the women who have come before me. But what I do differently is that I have boundaries, and I do not allow people to step over my boundaries. I put boundaries on myself because I do not allow myself to take on too much to where I am now in a deficit myself. I used to really allow myself to do that a lot, and me and God had to have a really hard conversation about why I kept showing up for people that he did not call for me to show up for. And all I'm going to say is that I was conditioned to be that way. And so my value of loving people and showing up for people and being supportive has not changed. The way that I express that, the way that I show love and show support for people looks very different. And sometimes that can rub people the wrong way. And you know what? I don't know what to tell people because I like myself. I like myself, and I realize that if I am not careful, I will give my all to someone and I won't be left with anything left to give, and they will still be pulling on me for more. So again, it's a transition, right? This is not something that happens overnight. These are things that where you may transition in that one part of your life, but another part of your life, you're dealing with the same issue, right? And so you really have to give yourself grace. You kind of have to embrace the process. And at the end of the day, you have to just be willing to peel back the layers that are you. Living authentically is about getting to know the person that you are. You just naturally are. And accepting that, knowing that that version of you, good, bad, ugly, and different, is worthy of love, worthy of acceptance. And other people may or may not, love and accept it. But you are the center of your universe. You are the number one person in your life. And so if you learn to love that about yourself and you learn to understand why you do what you do, why you are the way that you are, you will find, and you live in that, you will find people who love it. You will find people who are like, man, I love the way that you communicate. There are so many women who watch my channel, and some women, most of them are older, honestly, and they're like, you really bless me. Every single time I hear you talk or I watch your channel, you bless me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just being my authentic self. That's it. And I won't even say that like I am fully in my authenticity. There are still some things that I am reconciling within myself, that I am rediscovering about myself and becoming okay with even saying out loud. And so y'all are going to see that journey as I go through all of these lessons and these videos every single week. Me showing up authentically. Honestly, me showing up on camera, I've always wanted to be on camera. I've always wanted to be in front of people. I've always envisioned myself. I've always known I was a leader. I've always known I was talented. I've always known that I have something to talk about. I've always known that I was a communicator. I always knew these things about myself. But because I was conditioned to see the things that made me that way, that made me unique in that manner, because I was conditioned to see those things as bad or wrong or too much, I never leaned into that. And even when I did, I wasn't showing up fully as myself because I was always afraid of what other people would think and what other people would say. So I want to encourage you to live authentically, radically accept every part of yourself, okay? You are worthy of your own love. You are worthy of living a life that makes you happy. You are worthy of tapping into the most divine version of yourself. You are worthy of love and affection and the time and energy and effort that you give to everybody else. You are worthy of going through the motions of transitioning into the woman that God always created you to be. You are worthy of looking back and seeing how far you've come and acknowledging the woman that you are, but also acknowledging the woman that you want to become. You are worthy. You're worthy. You're worthy. You're worthy. You're worthy. I want to hammer that home, that you are worthy. Live authentically. Be who you are. God cannot do anything with your lies. God cannot do anything or deliver you or heal you from things that you aren't even willing to admit exists. You are worthy of God's love, even at your lowest. Okay? You are worthy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you all take what I said and apply it to your life so you can truly live an authentic life, so you can be true to yourself. Radical acceptance is the number one way that you can show up like yourself. And radical acceptance is also the number one way where you can feel more in touch with God, with the most divine part of you. I love y'all. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. You want to. What is the number one thing that you are going to radically accept about yourself that was difficult for you to accept about yourself before hearing this video? I love y'all. Make sure that you'll follow me on Instagram at Pretty Brown and Poppin'. Make sure you check out my links down below. I love y'all. Hit that notification bell so that you are notified every single time I upload a video. And until next time, peace.